Hi, I'm Aaron Hand, Editor-in-Chief of ProFood World, and this is Take 5. So this week, I'd like to take some time to talk about cybersecurity. It's an issue that is growing in importance for several different reasons, actually. One is that cyber attack approaches have become increasingly sophisticated. Also, ransomware has become tantalizingly lucrative as a business model. And also, for food and beverage plants, they have become a little more connected than they had been in the past. And that's particularly true since the start of the pandemic. So every year, ProFood World aims to make automation its topic for the February print issue cover story. It covers a wide range of automation and digitalization technologies. This year, it's precisely because of that increasing digitalization that we thought it would be good to focus in particularly on cybersecurity. Before I joined the staff at ProFood World, I actually spent 7 years on sister publication Automation World, where I covered primarily continuous process industries such as oil and gas, water and wastewater, all kinds of power generation. These were industries where cybersecurity was considered paramount because they are critical industries that if anything happens in them, we're talking about national security or public health issues. But if there's anything that has put food and beverage on par with these typically critical industries, I would say it was the May 30th cyber attack of JBS. So JBS supplies about a quarter of the world's beef, about 20% of the world's pork. Things don't necessarily explode like they would in an oil refinery, but an attack like that still causes considerable disruption. So JBS suspended its operations at 9 beef processing plants across the U.S., causing all kinds of uncertainty in the supply chain. Never mind the $11 million that they had to pay in ransom. So in fact, in her reporting for our February cover story, Beth Stackpole talks about the effects of cybersecurity attacks on the supply chain. So a key example she gave, some of you might have noticed if you tried to make cheesecake around the holidays that there was no cream cheese available in the grocery stores for a while. So I think we've all become pretty numb to those supply chain issues. So you might have considered it just part of that same old supply chain story. In fact, it was actually a ransomware attack that knocked out core systems and operations in October for Schreiber Foods. So not only did Schreiber have to pay $2.5 million in ransomware, the Wisconsin cheese producer was hit during peak production. So it had an effect on down the line, smaller farmers, cooperatives, and also the companies that buy those ingredients from Schreiber. So what I've been talking about here so far are some pretty big, high-profile cases in cybersecurity. So what I don't want you to start thinking, and what I think is too typical of a mindset in this industry, is that you're not big enough for a cyber attacker to care about going after. So first, let's just talk about the sheer volume of attacks. Something that Beth talked about in her article was the 607% surge in malware detections in the food and agricultural industry in 2020. So the fact is that you can get caught in the net whether you are a target or not. So as I noted, the pandemic has had a pretty big effect on this, particularly with the increased remote capabilities that a lot of companies have established during this time to allow their employees to work from home. But even before then, many in the food and beverage industry were very interested in Industry 4.0 capabilities, but didn't really have the systems set up to do those securely. So most of these industrial systems, industrial networks, were built decades before cybersecurity became a big issue. So they're just not equipped with the basic encryption, authentication, authorization capabilities that your typical enterprise IT is equipped with. So there are a lot more details in Beth's February cover story. So check out the link below and be sure to read up on that. But I would like to take a little bit more time just to touch on the key points she makes for cybersecurity best practices. 1, conduct a complete risk assessment to understand what's on your networks and how it's all interconnected. Also, perform regular preventive maintenance checks of your operational assets. Also, invest in cybersecurity awareness and training for all your employees, not just those who are directly involved in the cybersecurity. And finally, address the information gap with new talent. I know that all of this is a lot easier said than done, but it'll be worth it if you can keep your production up and running. So take a moment to read through Beth's article and then make sure you get the help you need to secure your operations.